Hello and welcome. So glad you have joined us on this journey through the pages of another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. Coming up, COVID prevention ambassadors in communities and schools getting tablets for e-learning, all in our Western Roundup segment. Plus, learn CPR to save a life. These and more interesting features on the other side of these important messages.
Jamaica Eye is part of an island-wide network of camera surveillance systems designed to increase the safety of you, our citizens. If you have a camera system outside your home or office facing a public space, join us in helping to make Jamaica a safer place for all. Log on to jamaicai.gov.jm today. Jamaica Eye, we're all connected. The Ministry of National Security, creating a safer and prosperous Jamaica.
In our Western Roundup segment this week, team member Nikita Sterling looks at a new trend of persons being ambassadors for COVID infection prevention and schools getting tablets for students' e-learning.
A COVID ambassador is one who tried to teach the people, enlighten them and let them know what is going on and how serious this COVID thing is.
If you want to know more about this COVID-19 ambassador program, as well as if you are interested in seeing how schools and other stakeholders have been adjusting during the pandemic, stick around for this episode of Western Roundup. The widespread implementation of health and safety protocols across the tourism sector has been so successful that it is now being replicated in some of our local communities. This is being done through the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association's COVID-19 Ambassador Program.
It is a program where our trained employees will go into adjacent communities to their hotels and to ensure that they train the communities in simple procedures. I mean, hand washing, social distancing, mask wearing, and sanitization.
I can recall when COVID just started in March, I think my taxi men in my area were so serious. I mean, you couldn't go in the taxis without them sanitizing your hands, and they were also listening to the protocols of the government where they had one less persons. And since later I realized there's no mask, there's no sanitizer, people rubbing up together. So I took the initiative along with our JHTA president, Mr. Clifton Reeder, that I think I need to sensitize the people because I live in that community. I'm a part of that community. My family lives in the community. So what I do, I go where the boys playing football. I make myself known to them. I tell them, listen man, we have to do this together. At work, I'm like a police, for want of a better word, because I go around and I say to them, listen, that's the incorrect way to wear the mask, let's practice the social distance. I know we're a touchy-feely, people we love to embrace and stuff. So that's basically what a COVID ambassador does.
So far, 2 St. Anne communities are benefiting from the program, which will soon expand to other parishes. In the meanwhile, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information is being lauded for its support of students on the program of advancement through health and education path. Students at the Brownstown and Alva Primary Schools in St. Anne and the Barretown All Age and Glendavon Primary Schools in St. James received tablets under the Tablets in Schools program to assist in their virtual learning.
It's an awesome feeling. We're so delighted that we were able to get these tablets to help with our teaching and learning. There are some needy students who at this time cannot afford it, and so we are extremely grateful that we were selected to be given 126 tablets.
The parents too are expressing their gratitude for the initiative, which has made virtual learning less burdensome and more fun.
I really appreciate the help that Alva Primary and Infant School is getting. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm so happy, because this is one of the best things ever happened in March. We didn't add smartphone and things like that. So, the teacher would have to print the work online on worksheet for our child to do it, and we do work and drop it back to the school. So now that this come out, it will be so much fun and easier for us parents.
My daughter did really need one, and I'm pouring out for others who really need it. So when I heard of it, it's all for me. It's a joy for me for them to get it. That they can excel more by using their tablets. Yes, so that's really a blessing for me.
The program will benefit students from grades 4 to 6 in schools across the island. Finally, in St. James, the Farm and Green Pond primary and infant schools are now in a better position to take protective measures against COVID-19 when face-to-face learning resumes. This was made possible through the kind donation from US-based non-profit organization Children of the Caribbean Foundation.
We are indeed happy that we have partnered with the Caribbean, Children of the Caribbean Foundation, and indeed they have given us the items that we really need to ensure that we are ready when the government or the Minister of Education should give the go-ahead to have our students engaged face-to-face.
The schools received masks, hand sanitizer dispensers, face shields, and infrared thermometers.
We hope you're still doing all you can to stay safe and, of course, following the protocols as outlined by the Ministry of Health and Wellness as we all try to beat this pandemic. Thanks for watching Western Roundup, where we take you from the corners of St. Elizabeth to the hilly terrains of St. Anne. Until next time, we leave you with this message from our COVID-19 ambassador.
Let's come together, because this COVID thing is no respecter. Young, old, middle age and older, black, white, it no fear no color. Let's come together. We can do this. We are stronger. We can't make COVID come mash us up. God.
How would you want to be treated if you were diagnosed with COVID-19? Not like this.
Them will talk how I'm wicked and if it dead, and they behave like I am the one that created the virus. All my friends as well that were positive, them going through even worse than what I'm going through. Persons are calling police on them as well.
Do not allow your fear of COVID-19 to rob you of your humanity. There is no need to shun or victimize persons with the disease or those on the front line.
To mistreat persons that do have it, it's not a good feeling. We don't cause this on ourselves.
We really need to cut the hate and work together as a country, as communities to overcome.
Let us be understanding with those affected and support each other. Be kind. End the stigma.
If a person should suddenly collapse and is found to be without a pulse and not be breathing, he or she could die if immediate intervention is not taken. Any one of us could save that person's life just by doing CPR. It's the final day of CPR week, so watch this next feature to know how you can prepare yourself to be one such lifesaver. Just a note, due to safety concerns related to the spread of COVID-19, the Heart Foundation of Jamaica is recommending that individuals trained in CPR should perform chest compressions.
Oscar! Oscar! Oscar!
Though this is a dramatization, it has happened quite often. In the field, at home or at work, a loved one collapses and is unresponsive. What follows? Usually chaos, confusion, heartache. Instead of immediately providing that critical resuscitation technique which may prevent death.
CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It is a skill that is an emergency skill that is used to revive someone whose heart has stopped beating. Cardiac arrest can happen to anyone at any time. In the event that happens, you need to know the skills that you need to perform to revive these persons or give these persons a chance of survival.
We never know when we'll be in a situation where we need to help someone else. It's really just a little bit of your time, and I think it would be a worthwhile investment in learning these skills so we can render assistance.
Even when someone is choking, the techniques learned in CPR may be applied to save that person from asphyxiation. To release the person's airway, position yourself behind them and clasp your fist at the navel and roll in an upward motion. When someone is unresponsive, that's a whole other ballgame. The person may become unresponsive for several reasons. For instance, they could have a medical condition. To really know if someone is unresponsive and in need of CPR,
Tap the person's shoulder and shout, "Sir, sir, sir," or "Ma'am, are you okay?" Once the person is not responding to you, and they can respond in several forms. They can answer by moaning, they can groan, they can open their eyes, they can move a limb. If the person is not responding to you, now you need to scan the chest and look if you see breathing. Once the person is not breathing, their terms as being unresponsive. So once you have somebody collapsing, the first thing you need to do is check your environment, ensure that your environment is safe for you. Once the environment is safe, now you need to assess the person who has collapsed. Once someone is unresponsive, has no signs of life, call for help and bare the person's chest. So you remove their upper garments. Find your hand position. It's on the lower half, center of the chest, lower half of the breastbone, and you push in 30 times at the Bee Gees song, that's Staying Alive. Ha, 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 staying alive. If you are trained, after 30 compressions, you can give 2 breaths. If you are not trained, you don't know about CPR, you give hands-only CPR. So hands-only CPR is where you compresses the chest. You need to continue that on the way to the hospital, so you're maintaining cell's life.
it's possible for anyone and everyone to learn CPR.
Nannies, construction workers, teachers, lawyers, doctors, everyone should learn CPR. Once you're able-bodied, you can learn CPR.
In terms of age, it's said as young as 12 years old can learn the art to save a life.
So many times, children get in situations that they need assistance. In fact, a cousin of mine, her son got into some distress. She realized that he wasn't breathing one day, and she was able to help him by giving him CPR. So I think that was really important that she had those skills so that she could assist her son, because who knows what would have happened if she wasn't able to give him that immediate assistance.
This course, I've done it before, and I find it very interesting because I work a lot with children, and one time I have to do a CPR on a little boy because there was leave under my care and mother wasn't around, and he was eating some plum and playing on the plum seed, stabbing his throat, and I just hear him coughing, but it never very severe because he was coughing. So when he was coughing, I hold him up and I, try to do a little, I understand the CPR, tell him to cough. And he cough and cough until it actually come up.
I had a patient once, and while I was there in the bathroom with that person, the person just fell unconscious, and I was there, didn't know exactly what to do, but I was there saying, "Sir, are you okay? Are you okay?" And I didn't know much, what to do, but I decided to put the person on the side, and I was there trying to stop the person, Then I was saying to myself, if I had known CPR well enough, I could perform it.
The Heart Foundation of Jamaica is one of the several local organizations that offer training in CPR.
The Heart Foundation of Jamaica is an authorized training center for the American Heart Association. We offer CPR training for medical and non-medical persons. We have our scheduled in-house training, and organization can call us to schedule classes at their convenience.
CPR!
What do you need to know about masks for your children? You want to ensure that the mask fits your child snugly, as in it covers their nose, their mouth, and it fits neatly at the side of their face, no gaps. You want to get your children some washable, breathable mask made of fabric. You want to ensure that they carry an extra mask with them, because once that mask gets dirty or wet, they will need to change the mask. When they get home, you want to ensure that those masks are washed and ready for the next day or the other day to come. Also, remind them that they need to wash their hands when they're putting on the mask and when they're taking off the mask. And as much as possible, they should avoid putting their hands at the center of their mask. If it is that they have to make any adjustment to their mask during the day, it's important that they either wash their hands or use their hand sanitizer. Mask wearing is a new normal. Let's get it right.
As we close out our Heritage Month observance, we're bringing to you another of the 2020 National Honors and Awards recipients. Our next feature profiles Mr. Brian Winter and his work contributing to nation building, specifically the financial sector.
During the mid-1990s, 1996 to 1999, Jamaica's financial sector experienced a period of instability, and the government intervened to assist as well as to implement improvements to the regulation and supervision of the sector. The Financial Services Commission (FSC) was created to oversee the regulation of Jamaica's insurance, pension, and securities industries.
I was given this opportunity to when the government of the day wanted to create an integrated financial sector regulator out of they didn't have anything. There was nothing. There were some predecessor entities, but there was something new had to be created, and I got the chance. I'm really grateful for it, to literally put it all together and lead and carry out all the different pieces of work. It was sort of from concept and policy, legislation, all the way down to sort of premises, finding the right premises, staffing, to create and pull together this institution. I feel very proud of having had the chance to do that and successfully completing it.
The FSC is one side of the financial sector supervisory coin, the other being the Bank of Jamaica (BOJ), which regulates deposit-taking institutions, that is, banks, building societies, and trust companies. While at the helm, Brian Hector Winter provided sound leadership and played a transformative role in both entities over the years, from which the country has benefited significantly. The Bank of Jamaica, with Mr. Winter as governor, achieved low stable inflation, coming from a high of 20% in 2009 down to a low rate of 4%. Another significant success has been the achievement of exchange rate stability. In the fiscal year before he took office at the BOJ in 2009, the Jamaican dollar depreciated by 24.9%, and by 2018-19, the rate of depreciation was 0.4%, with an appreciation of more than 2% the year before.
You know, challenges come to you. You don't necessarily always seek them out. And I think Jamaica's economic transformation, that I had the opportunity to be involved or part of the leadership of making this really difficult turn that Jamaica made, and the credit there is for all Jamaicans. One that other countries and other people in the world look at and say, wow, how could you do that?
The government has seen it fit to recognize Mr. Winter for his contribution, appointing him as member of the Order of Jamaica, the country's third highest honor.
It's very humbling to receive this honor. I'm also very proud. It was such a privilege to be able to lead such outstanding people who work at the Bank of Jamaica. They deserve as much credit for this as I am getting. I'm getting it in a way on behalf, I believe, on behalf of the kind of commitment to the public good, the way people really focus their energies in really difficult circumstances. It was such a privilege to work with them.
Mr. Winter's motivation towards excellence and service and his commitment to public good was sustained by the positive role models in his life as well as caring persons around him.
It helps a lot, and I've benefited from this, to have a kind of a loving family and caring people around you who allow you to sort of focus on all these things. And I have had that benefit in my wife and my broader family around me. They've been extremely supportive. So I think that's a motivating factor as well when you have that kind of security.
Brian Winter considers himself the product of a real Caribbean family, with his mother born in St. Vincent and his father born in Cuba. He himself was born in Jamaica, where he spent part of his childhood years before moving to England.
I spent a lot of time living with my grandmother here in Jamaica. She's known as Miss Birdie in the radio series of the day. And spent quite a bit of time with my grandparents in St. Vincent as well. But then from the time I was about 8 or 9, we moved to Europe. And I spent much of my later years of youth in the UK and in other countries in Europe.
Most of his education was in the United Kingdom, where he went to high school and university, which was followed by graduate school in the United States.
I have been a financial person, working in banking, in the private sector, in New York in the earlier years, and then here in Jamaica.
Brian Winter later worked in the public sector, where he is better known to the public for heading the Financial Service Commission and then the Bank of Jamaica up until 2019.
The JIS Heritage Competition is celebrating 10 years of youth expression on Jamaican history, culture, and tradition. If you're a primary level student, 9 to 12 years old, enter the essay competition. Write 400 to 500 words on the topic. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace. Identify a Jamaican from our past or an institution that exemplifies this statement from our national pledge and say why. Secondary level students, enter the poster competition. And tertiary students, send us your best snap for the photo competition. The topic, I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace. Enter now and play your part in preserving our national heritage, with prizes to be won. For competition rules and guidelines, contact the JIS.
Householders, business people, school administrators, be on the alert. Help control the mosquito population. Destroy breeding sites. Empty old tires and all other containers where water can settle. Bore holes in old cans. Cover water drums and garbage cans. Wash flower pots and vases and clean pet dishes regularly. Protect yourself from mosquito bites. Cover your body as much as possible and use mosquito repellent containing DEET.
Still on the topic of library, information, and heritage, our next stop on today's journey through Jamaica Magazine is at a museum and library located at Up Park Camp in Kingston. There you can find artifacts and information chronicling the history of the armed forces in Jamaica. Come with me.
Military presence in Monique would have started from as far back as military in Jamaica. Monique was a strategic location between Kingston, Spanish Town, and Ocho Rios, so it ended up being a stopover location for many of the troops as they were patrolling the area. During the Maroon Wars of the 18th century, Monique was one of the 11 barracks that were established for the troops to stop over as they were encountering a lot of diseases and deaths due to the long patrol that they had to do on the interior of the island while they were facing the Maroons in guerrilla type warfare, which was very foreign and new to them. So the uniforms they were wearing was not suited for the tropical climate, so it was very hard for them traveling, if you can imagine, from Kingston into Trelawney area. So they established barracks for close monitoring of the maroon towns, and Monique was one of those that was established. By the 19th century, the Monique Hotel was established in preparation for the Great Exhibition of 1891 in Kingston, and that hotel actually housed several of the troops straight up to the 1940s, when it changed ownership and again used as a formal hotel. In the 1940s, it was used during the World War II period by foreign regiments, some of which you can see along the wall of badges at Newcastle: the Winnipeg Grenadiers, the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders, and the Brockville Rifles. Many of these regiments would have moved between Monique and Kingston, where in Monique they did training exercises.
Monique continued to be a training ground for troops throughout the centuries. The Jamaica Defense Force came into being in 1962, and the Monique Training Camp became the home of the 2nd Jamaica Regiment in 1979. And since 2009, it has been the JDF's Combat Support Battalion base.
The Jamaica Military Museum and Library is open to the general public, and we look forward to sharing our history with you.
Catch up on your history at the museum's Up Park Camp Kingston location, Wednesdays through Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
And this is where we end today's edition of Jamaica Magazine, but be sure to join us again tomorrow for another informative show. Until then, continue to watch these and other programs by logging on to our website, jis.gov.jm, or subscribing to our YouTube channel. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's both Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry, reminding you to practice your infection prevention and control measures and stay safe.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.